We're gonna say hi to Victoria, like I always promised I would do. Oliver's hiding back there. Yeah, hi. Okay. He was busy looking for his paper. He's existing. Okay. So today we're talking about state testing. I know, I know. I don't like to talk about it either, so we're all in this together, okay? You just need lined paper. We're not even going to do grammar today. We're not doing anything from the binder. We're focusing on just the writing. The homework is test practice, so it's up to your parent. Like I said, if she's like, if you have a full week or whatever, if you want to take a break from the homework because of testing or whatever, just have her message me. That's what I'm saying to everybody.
Mine's not starting until next week, so I'm probably.
Essays for 3 through 5. I know you guys aren't in 3 through 5. So, but these might also be on your list as well. These are the types of essays. So informational, explanatory, and explanatory is here as well. That's the type of essay that we've been doing the most of lately, like about Amelia Earhart and about your
Ernest Shackleton.
Yep, Ernest Shackleton. So basically taking articles. Back there, I think under the microwave is some tissue. I don't know why.
Are you sure those aren't napkins?
No, there's tissue. Kleenex.
I didn't sound so sure.
Did you find it back there? Okay. So basically you're taking articles and you're finding facts. That's what the informational explanatory paper is about. It might be an opinion paper, which we haven't really practiced yet. Okay, good. So you would use words like in my opinion and
I feel.
I feel you're in that essay. You're telling your opinion. So if it's about cats and dogs, which one's a better pet? You could say, in my opinion, cats are better pets than dogs. Dogs are better pets than cats. Or if you don't think either one is a good pet, that can also be an opinion. And then you would write support of that opinion, like why you feel that way. And it's similar to argumentative. That's another type of essay where you have a stand, or like you take a stand on something, you have an opinion about something, but you back it up with actual facts. The opinion is more like your thoughts, right? But argumentative is going to be from sources, from articles that you read, backing up. I'm trying to think of an example of an argumentative essay. Eating vegetables every day will make you a healthier person. That could be an argumentative. And then you would back it up with research that, okay, broccoli and spinach and greens are better for your health and they improve your blood pressure and whatever. Okay, you get the idea. The other one is narrative. I don't think you guys would have a narrative one, but I don't know. It's kind of a random assignment. So you don't know what kind of writing assignment is. So I just wanted to go through all of them with you. A narrative would be like the story sequence chart that we did, where you have the characters and setting. Yeah, you remember that one? Problems and conflict in the middle. I used to always talk about Kung Fu Panda during that time, remember? Yes. And then the last one is the climax and the resolution, right? So you would make up your story. You would make up your characters. You would make up your situation. That's more of a creative style writing. I don't think you guys are going to have this more for the younger kids, but they might just throw that in there just for you. So those are the different styles. I am going to attach this to your Google Classroom. This is basically some keyword suggestions to use for each type of essay that you might have. So like for narratives, once upon a time type of sentence starter, and then for like an informative essay using words like for example, in addition to, as a result of, those types of. So I'll attach this to your Google Classroom for that practice. And today we're going to practice an argumentative performance task. This is what you would see on your computer screen. I just printed it so it's easier for us to have. This is your example. I know. By the way, there's tools you probably remember. These are some of the tools you'll have on your screen.
This last year.
Oh, really?
Oh, wait, no, I didn't. Not the penny one.
But you'll have tools that you can use like highlighter tools and you can take notes on your screen. I prefer the lined paper because then it's right in front of you. You don't have to search for it. Excuse me. So, if you want to play around with the tools, there is a link that I sent your parents, for a practice test and you can kind of see, what the tools are like for your test. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. I know. The student directions, they're up here. You're gonna write about the penny, okay? Penny argumentative performance task, which is kind of cool because it's actually part of your binder. There's a section in there about the penny, so this takes the place of that. You don't believe me?
No, I just want to see what kind of paper is.
I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think it is. I don't know what week it is. There it is.
Oh, 18.
It is an argumentative essay, so whether or not, and in the binder, it's whether or not we should
Yeah, look out.
still keep the penny in circulation or take the penny out of circulation because we don't really use pennies anymore. And then there's arguments for both sides of that. So that's that paper. This one, it says in recent years, I'm right here under task. In recent years, a heated debate has emerged about money in the United States. This particular debate is not about big economic issues, though. Surprisingly, it's about the economic pros and cons of producing and using pennies. So it is going to be similar to the binder. That's what you include in here is pros and cons. Okay. The controversies surrounding the production and continued use of pennies is one of the topics that will be part of an upcoming website project for your history class. As part of your initial research, you have uncovered 4 sources about the historical and economic impact of the penny. After you've reviewed these sources, you will answer some questions about them, briefly scan the sources and the questions that follow, then go back and read the sources carefully so that you will have the information you will need to answer the questions and finalize your research. You may click on the global notes button to take notes on the information you find in the sources as you read. You may also use scratch paper to take notes. That's what I recommend. That's what you'll have. So 2 parts to this. You're going to read and then answer questions. We're not going to do that part today, but you know how there's multiple choice. And a lot of times there's like a silly answer that's not even, you can tell it's not even one of the answers. You narrow it down. Some of them are going to be easy to answer. Some of them are going to be really, really hard. And if you get stuck, don't stay stuck too long. Okay. If you get stuck on one and you just can't figure it out, really, honestly, just pick an answer and move on. So you're not on that one question for like an hour because there's going to be a lot of questions. So just try your best to choose one and move on.
Just one.
Just one. And then it says directions for beginning. It says you will now examine several sources. You can re-examine any of the sources as often as you like, meaning you can scroll back and forth on it. It's not going to like move you on and then you can never see it again. It's all right there. You can just scroll around on it. After examining the research sources, use the remaining time in part 1 to answer questions. I'm going to kind of skip this because this is talking about part 1. I want you to skip to actually the second to the last page where it says part 2. Look for where it says part 2.
Source 2?
No, not source 2, part 2.
Hold on.
It's like
There's
not
one
the last
page.
page. Yeah, right before that last page. I recommend that you find out what the assignment is before you start reading all the articles. Find out what is your paper going to be about, because that's going to help you a lot on organizing your notes. So going to the question here, part 2, remember I said part 1 is multiple choice. Part 2 is writing. You will now review your notes and plan, draft, revise, and edit your writing, which you're going to do with your keyword outline mostly. You may use your notes and refer to the sources. Now read your assignment and information about your writing, how your writing will be scored, and then begin your work. Your assignment, this is the one I want you to really look for at first, so you know what you're writing about. as a contribution to the website your history class is creating, you decide to write an argumentative essay that addresses the issues surrounding the penny. Your essay will be displayed on the website, and will be read by students, teachers, and parents who visit the website. Your assignment is to use the research sources to write a multi-paragraph argumentative essay either for or against the continued production of the penny in the United States. Make sure you establish an argumentative claim, address potential counter-arguments, and support your claim from the sources you have read. Develop your ideas clearly and use your own words, except when quoting directly from sources. Be sure to reference the sources by title or number when using details or facts directly from the sources.
What if we decide just not to write an argumentative essay for this website?
My argument,
Well, it's not an option.
pennies aren't great at all.
Remember,
Or it could
you
just be like, it could just be like pennies, 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 pennies.
Oh no.
For like
I know you
5
wouldn't do that.
paragraphs. And then they'd be like, why would you do that?
So all you're gonna get is lined paper. You can't have any books or any other resources with you when you take the test. You guys already know that. So you're gonna create your own checklist. So on your lined paper, go ahead and start by putting dress ups at the top where you normally put your name. And then make a list of your dress ups. And we're gonna put,
Oops, I wrote it on the top. one.
actually, you don't need to write the boxes. That'll take up too much room, but you're making your own checklist. So what is on your checklist normally? What do you guys have over here?
Oh, I have it.
Quality, strong.
Good. Go ahead and make your list real quick.
www.
Adverb. Through which www.aja.b.
Okay.
And then what else?
I think that's it because clause used to be separate.
What about press? No.
Those are
That's it.
openers. Do we have them?
Uh-huh.
I think we
There's
do.
only 6 and then the B, or there's only this.
Sometimes they have the
And then the
B
B.
separate. Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's it. And then your openers, what do we got for that?
Subject,
Okay.
We should.
prepositional, ly adverb, ing. I'm just going in order.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be in a certain order.
Causal,
And VSS.
Very
Oh, yeah.
good. So you guys remember. That's good. Obviously, for the test, you don't need to underline your dress ups or number your openers.
that would be.
They would be confused. They wouldn't understand that. So just know that you need to include these. I would just, instead of drawing in all your boxes, you can just keep track of your check marks by these to make sure that you have 5, because you are gonna have to write a 5-paragraph essay for
Well,
the test.
Yeah.
We're not writing it today.
that's-
We're just practicing setting up for it today.
okay.
But you would use check marks next to it. Remember, this test is long, you guys. I'm sorry.
They're like,
Hours long. So you have plenty of time. And if you get to the end of your time frame for that actual day, you'll pick it up where you left off on the next day. Cause like at your school, you're at a
Right.
traditional school. It's like a week or 2 weeks long, right? You
right, well,
know,
because we have block schedule also.
okay.
During testing, it's like every class is 2 hours long and you have 3 classes per day. Like, for example, Monday, you would have your first 3 periods, and then Tuesday, you'd have your last 3 periods.
For
And then-
testing?
Yeah, and then
Okay.
Wednesday, you'd have your first 3 periods again.
Okay.
And they're all 2 hours long, which kind
Yeah.
of sucks.
Yeah, it's
Because-
long.
Especially
It's
for
long.
PE, because I have PE first period, so that's 2 hours of doing like brainless PE. So,
Oh, you don't have to
Kinda.
test for PE, do you?
well, I mean, you do.
You
but,
do.
Like,
Oh,
you do, but not during block schedule typically.
okay.
Last year we just played basketball.
So do they let you bring like a book or something to read until you're waiting until the next test opens or anything like that? Or they just
I
make you
think
sit
all
and
of
wait?
them. I think all of them open at the same time.
Okay.
So like if you finish one, you can just move on.
Okay, so basically when you sit down with your scratch paper, just start by jotting down your checklist items like you guys just did. And now I would turn your paper over to the back side And let's set up your keyword
Hey,
outline.
we did this last week.
Yeah, we did. We're just practicing it again. This is just your introduction, so that one's only going to have 3. These are your body paragraphs, remember? These are going to have 5 and a clincher. These are just notes for you. We're just practicing setting this up. And obviously you're going to keep going. I'm going to put my number 4 over here.
Wait, did I? Oh, I wrote that wrong. I didn't. Roman numerals messed me up.
And then your conclusion is just going to have the 1, 2, 3. The 3 body paragraphs go in the middle.
I squeezed it all in. Oh, my lines are like going sideways.
Start with your body paragraphs. That's going to be the easiest thing to start with. Then do your conclusion. And the last thing you do is your introduction. Okay. That's the order that I recommend writing these paragraphs. So going back to your packet, go back to the front of your packet.
Hang on.
Did it say there's like 5 paragraphs in the one anywhere?
Bless you.
Thank you.
It says it's a multi-paragraph, and it says, if you're looking for that, it talks about your introduction and your conclusion. That's how you know it's going to be a 5-paragraph, but it says multi-paragraph.
If you do 5 to 1 press, then
Yeah. See, it says here, how effective was your introduction and your conclusion? So they're telling you how they're going to score it. If you want to read that part later. But at the very front page, it says penny wise or 2.4 cents foolish.
I don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't either, but that's the name of the title of the article.
that's
Probably it, the movie, the clown's called Pennywise.
Oh,
Well, yeah, but like, how would you understand that?
that's true. I don't know. Does anybody feel like reading today? Because I can read this. So if you feel like reading, I can read it. Do you feel like reading?
I can read.
Okay. You don't have to.
Audrey,
I'm just asking. It's not mandatory. So
Just the whole
Audrey's
first
gonna,
source.
yeah, just read the first source and then I can read the second source.
Just completely read the whole thing.
Just completely read the whole thing. So yeah, obviously you're gonna be scrolling on this, and if you have a highlighter tool, which I think you do, and if you like to highlight, you can highlight. Otherwise, you're just gonna have to remember what you read and go back and look for things, but just focus on the first article first. So go ahead.
The news from north of the border is both trivial and unsettling. They won't be making shiny new pennies in Canada anymore. The government in Ottawa has made this decision after years of deliberation for reasons that they would seem to apply equally well in the United States. Pennies take up too much space on our dressers at home, Jim Flaherty, the Canadian finance minister, said in a speech last month. A persuasive government brochure put it this way: we often store them in jars, throw them away in water fountains, or refuse them as change.
Okay, hold on just a second before you keep going. You know how in your introduction you need an attention getter. You can use a quote like that, but you have to reference who said it. So like that one, you would say a persuasive government brochure, and you might even know from the bibliography which one that was. But after each article has a bibliography of who wrote the articles. So just make sure you reference that when you say the quote. Okay, oops, I gotta get it right. Okay, go ahead.
Pennies cost more to produce than they are worth. They are worth so little that many Canadians don't bother to use them at all. Do we really need pennies? The Canadian government doesn't think so. By the fall, it plans to stop minting them and stop distributing them through banks. It won't actually ban them, though. Some people have grown so attached to pennies, a penny saved is a penny earned. After all, that they may want to keep using them indefinitely, and they can, the Canadian government says. But those who can bear to part with their pennies are being encouraged to bring them to banks for eventual melting, or to donate them to charities, which will presumably bring them in for melting. Electronic transactors will continue to include cents, while retail sales will be rounded up or down. Inflation is sometimes cited as a threat whenever small coins are phased out. as $2.01 cup of coffee should be rounded down to 2, while $2.03 should become $2.05, for example. But retailers in the real world might raise prices more than lower them. That could cause a small one-time inflation versus
Francois Velde, yeah.
an expert on the history of small change. But in a competitive market, you might well see price decreases, says Mr. Velde, a senior economist at the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago, who is working this year at the Bank of France. In a place like New York, a 99-cent price of pizza might go down to 95 cents rather than $1 to avoid crossing that higher price threshold. Overall and over time, there should be no net price effect, he says. He finds the government for phasing out the penny to be at least as strong in the United States as in Canada, because the two nations' small coins, political history, and
socioeconomics.
Yeah,
socioeconomic culture have so much in common. That's what makes the Canadian decision a little unsettling, he says. Their pennies even look a lot like ours. In the United States, the mint says each zinc and copper coin costs $2.41 to produce and distribute. It costs 1.6 Canadian cents to make a penny at the mint in Winnipeg, according to Canadian government figures. Canadian cent is about 0.99 cents at the current exchange rate. From the standpoint of economics, that's just a total waste of money, Mr. Velde says. Pennies may not be big money, even if you add them together, but we are paying a cost for the privilege of squirreling them away in drawers and on dressers. The United States government, that is taxpayers, lost $60.2 million on the production and distribution of pennies in the 2011 fiscal year. The Mint's budget shows, and the losses have been mounting to $27.4 million in 2010 and $19.8 million in 2009. A number of countries, including Australia, New Zealand, Brazil, Finland, the Netherlands, Norway, Sweden, Switzerland, and Britain, have already dropped their lowest denominated coins without dire consequences. What is to be done in the United States? The Mint differs to Congress, and Congress hasn't told it to abolish the penny. Lawmakers have directed the Mint to study ways to make small coins more cheaply. Mike White, a spokesman for the Mint, says the report will be completed in December. At the very least, a change in the composition of the American penny seems likely. In 1982, Congress authorized the Treasury to make such a change, and it did. Before then, pennies were 95% copper and 5% zinc. Pennies manufactured since then have been copper-plated zinc, with zinc making up 97.5% of the coin and copper only 2.5%. Steel, which was used in pennies in World War II, could be substituted next. Why stop at the penny? It's not the only American coin that costs more than it's worth. Each nickel costs $11.18 to produce and distribute, the Mint says, at a loss to taxpayers of $56.5 million in the last fiscal year in its 2013 budget proposal. The Obama administration has asked for authority to alter the composition of the nickel too. The whole situation is ridiculous, Mr. Velde says. The serious, simple solution is to do away with the penny. Okay, a penny for your thought.
Okay. Those are footnotes there, giving you definitions for each one of those things. So your paper is basically about keeping the
This was made
penny.
in 2012, wow.
Yeah, it's a little old. So in an argumentative style essay like this, your body paragraphs 2, 3, and 4 are going to address the pros and cons of having a penny. So on the left side next to Roman numeral 1, I just want you to put con. And then on the left side of Roman numeral 3, put pro/con. I'll explain why in a minute. And then pro. You're going to be searching for the pros and cons of keeping the penny. That's what this paper is mostly about. And in your introduction, just so you know, after we're done reading everything, when we get to that, you don't want to give away your stand right away in the introduction, because if you say, let's throw away the penny, then nobody's gonna wanna read the rest of it because you already gave your opinion. You're gonna give them the punchline at the end during your conclusion. So in the beginning, we're just gonna go, could be this, could be that, you don't know, and then you're gonna talk about the con, you're gonna give a little bit of both here, you're gonna give the pro, and then here's where you go, pow, this is what I believe. Opinion, that is your actual call to action is what we call this. So let's put call to action. And it does include your opinion. Okay. You just read that. We're gonna start here with the body. That's the best place to start when you're doing this kind of a test. So think about the cons of keeping the penny. This particular article talked a lot about that. So just focus for the sake of time today. I'm just gonna have you focus on 1 through 3, but during the test, you're gonna do all 5. This is just for practice today. So just look for 3 facts. Well, actually for Roman numeral 1, we should put penny, because that's what we're talking about. And then blank and blank to support the con perspective of the penny. So you can decide what to
If it's
keywords
gone or if we keep it.
if we keep it. So why it's a negative to keep the penny.
Pennies cost more than they're worth.
Pennies cost more than they're worth. Exactly. Exactly. That's a good one.
They do though.
Yep. Well, that's what it talked about too.
They're mostly useless.
I guess I would say get rid of them because like honestly you can just get change back and like why?
It did talk about rounding the amount. That would be a pro, actually, no, that would be a
mostly.
con to keeping the penny. Wait, no, that would be a,
Hold on.
yeah, I know, that's where it gets tricky.
Con of the
That's the
pro?
opposite. So like keeping the penny, this is the opposite. So you're thinking of what reasons why we should not keep the penny. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, but in your cons you could be like keeping the pennies would result in blah blah blah. Blah.
Mhm. So let's look back on that article that she just read. I like your idea. Costs more to make it. So you can put that as a number 1, or here if you want to put costs up, make, or something like that, whatever you need to put to help you remember. It costs more to actually produce or make the penny. Yeah, this gets a little tricky. I always mess up on this part.
Ugh.
Because this is telling reasons why we should not keep the penny. Because inflation, it talks about that, is sometimes cited as a threat whenever small coins are phased out. But that would be a pro to keeping the penny, right?
What is citing as a threat? What does it mean like a threat?
It just means like
The chance of inflation goes up.
Oh, okay, well, fair enough.
Well, inflation does.
inflation.
Well, because like marketers are gonna be like, oh, no more penny for this $2.01 coffee. Now it's $2.05. But like, yeah.
That would be a pro to keeping the penny. So this article has both, so you can mix up, you know,
Did my thing
in
just
these Roman numerals,
Oh,
pros and
I
cons.
just, like, broke.
Oh.
Okay. Whatever.
Penny saved is a penny earned. This paper actually kind of more goes with,
Explanatory.
yeah,
Marketing.
but I always get mixed up on the pros and cons, so maybe if we write a note at the top here, should we keep the penny? This would be like, no, don't keep the penny. And pro would be like, yes, keep the penny. And this is a combination of both. Yes and no. Maybe that'll help if you write yourself a question. Should we keep the penny? Don't keep the penny. That's what this guy says, Valde. Right?
I would.
Do away with the penny.
I mean, like. For the same reason they took $2 bills out of circulation, you know,
Yeah,
like it's not. You come across one every now and
We actually have a $2 bill.
then. My mom has a few. They're
I
pretty
have a
cool.
few too. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, $2 bills.
Remember, I had one when I was
I never spent mine.
5.
What did you do with it?
I put it in the vending machine and got a drink.
Oh my god.
I was thirsty and I was like, soda. So I put it in the camp vending machine.
Did it actually work?
It worked.
How did it recognize that $2 bill?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure.
Maybe it was supposed to only be a $1 bill, and they ripped you off.
That would be funny.
Maybe it counted as 2. I don't know. I mean, I did see. I think it's a pretty old vending machine. I think like pre-2000s. So
When did they get rid of $2 bills?
I think like in the 90s or something like that. Anyway, back to this. So this is talking about that paragraph that's talking about raising prices. So if you don't have the penny, this would be a reason why we don't want, should we keep the penny? No, because if we, see, I'm confused, you guys. I'm so tired. How are we gonna do pros and cons on this? My brain.
or 13 more minutes and just think about the planning.
Think about the penny. Do we keep the penny? Do we not keep the penny?
Well, the only fun thing about a penny is paying your friend back with pennies.
Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Maybe it'll make more sense as we go here. Let's move on to the next article. I'll read the second one.
Is the penny worth it?
Is the penny worth it? And then we'll see if we can gather information from this one too. The United States Department of Defense doesn't think so. So they think, no, we should not keep the penny. For 30 years, pennies have been used on foreign military bases. Haven't been used, okay. Pennies are too heavy and are not cost effective to ship. There you go. That's a reason not to have the penny anymore. And you can mix up these articles in your notes here. They don't have to be stuck with whatever article you're reading. You can just look for those cons. That's one. Too heavy and are not cost effective to ship. According to Chris Ward, a spokesperson for the Army and Air Force Exchange Service, this idea is the topic of much discussion lately, and the U.S. Congress is considering eliminating the penny from the United States circulation system. On foreign military bases, instead of pennies, the shops and restaurants would round to the nearest 5 cents. For example, if a lunch bill comes out to 9.06, it would be rounded down to 9.05. If it was 9.09, it would be rounded up to 9.10. So that could be one reason. It would change. Should we keep the penny? No, they would just change the prices and round the prices. Which that's confusing to me because that would be a reason to not keep the penny, but it also would be a reason to keep the penny. It's almost like going to be in this category where it's like, could be,
Yeah,
you
we could put that in there.
over here, yeah, where it talks about companies or businesses like round total up or down.
I wrote penny cause rounding up or down.
The rounding
Oh,
system
the
seems
moving, no pennies causes.
Yeah,
Well, you can still pay it with your credit card, so.
yeah. The rounding system seems to work well for the military, and some experts, such as Harvard professor N. Gregory Mankiw, want to do the same in the entire United States. Some people fear that rounding will end up costing people extra money. May cost, may cost or cost increase, may cause cost increase. I don't know. You can figure out how you want to say that. Mark Weller, Americans for Common Sense spokesperson, claims that stores will not choose to round their prices down. He claims that what he calls the rounding tax will cost consumers $600 million per year. Dr. Robert Walps, a professor at Wake Forest, disagrees and does not think the economic impact of eliminating pennies will be significant. Not only does he believe that it will have this insignificant impact on prices, but Walt seems to think that eliminating the penny will save time too. Eliminating the penny will save time.
Less, because they don't have to make any more.
He asserts that this time saved is even more valuable than eliminating a potential impact on rounding prices. His study says that time wasted counting pennies could add up to over $700 million per year
Oh my
nationwide.
gosh, people spend like 2 minutes per day counting. That's weird.
To a retail business, time is money because many retail businesses pay their employees by the hour. If the retail clerk and consumers spend just 2.5 seconds per transaction counting pennies, those seconds add up. These seconds all add up to an estimated $700 million in wages that businesses pay retail clerks to count pennies. Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous.
2.5 seconds.
That's-
Like, that's not a really good reason because, like,
Yeah.
it's
Well, they
2.5
should
seconds.
How many
per
pennies are they counting?
Not everyone agrees that pennies should be totally eliminated. Many argue that price rounding cannot be done fairly and that finding a way to make pennies cheaper is a better approach. Steel, which was used to make pennies during World War II, would be a cheaper alternative. No matter what your stance, the penny debate is real, and the United States has to make a decision one way or another. Okay. So here it could be expensive. You guys already talked about that for Roman numeral 2 as a con to keeping the penny. Is this expensive to make? And maybe an alternative could be to make it out of steel. That could be a pro actually, or it could be one of the mix here. We have both. You could put something like alternative.
I got expensive
Produce.
for all on cons.
Steel. Okay. There's another article. Keep going here.
I wrote steel over it.
So for Roman numeral 3, we need to come up with an opener for this particular paragraph, introducing pros and cons. And it can be something about like, it can be argued that people prefer keeping the penny or getting rid of the penny, something like that. So you can mention pros and cons here in your introduction sentence to that paragraph. Does that make sense? Like,
Is there water in America?
I don't, but you can cup your hands if you want to get it from sink, if you're desperate. I've done that before.
So many water bottles are on the counter.
I know,
Why are you not allowed to take them?
they're empty water bottles, they're
Oh.
just
All
like
like
for recycling, yeah.
Blah.
Do you guys have something for
all
number
right.
3 yet?
No.
Yes.
What do you have?
I
Pros,
just did
cons?
Pros and cons of keeping the penny.
Okay, that's a good one. That could be a statement.
Pros
There are
slash
both
cons.
pros and cons.
Keep pennies. That's only 4 words.
That's okay. I was gonna tell you on the test, if you need to put 4, it's okay. Because this isn't for my class, this is just for your notes. If you need to put,
Well,
Well, they're not
happens-
gonna care.
What happens if we do use more than 3 words in class?
I don't know, don't find out.
Oh,
Nothing.
well.
Well, if you use like,
I use more than 3 words like every.
I know my thing.
It's okay.
It's
Sometimes,
easier
I
for
mean,
me to remember.
yeah,
Because most of the time I can't get to it till a little later in the week, and then I'm like, why did I do this symbol?
I know,
What is
and
this
I'm
supposed to mean?
like, I look back at it like 3 days later and I'm like, pennies keep business, and I'm
Okay.
like, what?
give a penny and save the day, it says for the next article. Last week, Washington Middle School hosted its annual penny drive for charity. Students from every grade brought in bags and jars of pennies, and with everyone's assistance, they raised over $3,000 in 1 week.
Oh,
So this
Like
is
30,000.
This is gonna be a pro, yeah, for keeping the penny. Because, you know, a lot of people don't care about pennies, so they just leave it in their car or on the floor or gets thrown away or whatever, but
That's
mean,
good money.
I know, it's something, right? When you get a bunch of them, it's actually worth something. So we're gonna have here, maybe benefits would be a good word to put here for your, benefits. um,
Saving penny.
yeah,
That's not the same.
Oh. I'm so smart.
keeping, we just use keep, so you might have to think of different ways of saying that. Preserving, maybe, be a good word?
Yeah.
Preserving the penny,
Too late, I just wrote save.
it doesn't matter,
I've
just
already
for
saved
your
that.
notes there.
I love how. I'm actually thinking this
You
is
can
like-
put collect, give charity. This amazing effort was made possible due to the power of the penny. Many people do not see the value of the penny, and they feel as though pennies are not worth the trouble of carrying them around. Pennies might be a little bulky, but they add up. Moreover, because they are worth so little, people don't mind donating them to charity. Students at WMS found that out for themselves last week. If the school had organized a dime or a quarter drive, they probably would not have raised as much money. As Michael Cooper, an 8th grader, said, if you asked for my quarters, I would have said no because I use them for video games. Pennies don't really matter
The
much,
1980s?
so I was
changing my opinion.
happy to
Pro
give them
pennies.
to someone who could use them. Many other students I spoke with echoed Michael's words. Bottom line, a penny is not worth much by itself, but as WMS found out, there's power in numbers.
How
Yeah.
did they just get raised over? How did they get exactly $3,000?
I have no idea. That's a lot
It
of
says
pennies.
Over
they raised over.
$3,000.
Okay.
That'd be so
Um,
funny if they like got exactly to their. or, like,
3,000.
single penny.
so the bottom line, there is power in numbers. When people put all their pennies together for a good cause, they can add up quickly and they can truly help a good cause. So if you don't see much value in a penny, WMS can put it to good use. I kind of like that power. Power of the penny. I'm just gonna put power penny.
I wrote
But-
good cause add up.
Yep, good. And then the ever-changing penny. So we need to fill in more about the con, because I was trying to get my head around that. I think it's gonna be easier now. The 1-cent piece, commonly referred to as a penny, has been part of the United States history for over 200 years. Its design has changed 21 times. Oh,
Well,
history also shows that as the economy has changed, so has the value of the coin. The first pennies minted in 1857 were very large, larger than the modern day quarter, and had different images of the Statue of Liberty on the front. People did not really like how big they were. Several other versions of the coin were minted before finally producing the familiar Lincoln penny in 1909. Since then, 10 varieties have been minted, mostly because of changes in metal content. Changing the metal content was important to try to reduce protection costs. The US Mint is still exploring the additional designs and different more cost-effective metal compositions for the penny. The history of a penny reveals more than just a coin. It exposes a piece of American culture. That's a pro for keeping it. Piece American
It is though.
culture. It is. I agree.
I think I'm pro pennies now.
You changed your mind
I
already.
did. I mean, I just think that like,
Yeah, the 1 cent
why
piece
not?
has influenced our language, given us a number of idioms such as a penny for your thoughts, a way to ask what someone is thinking, and not 1 red cent, meaning no money at all. The coin also gave rise to the terms like penny candy, a piece of a candy sold for a cent, and penny arcade, an amusement center, which machines that cost 1 cent to operate.
Huh?
Not
So-
anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. But you could put a little history in that one if you wanted to there. Despite its cultural influences, the penny is currently under attack. The reason, because making money also costs money. In 2011, it cost the US Mint more than 2.4 cents to produce 1 penny. So that would be,
Oh, that's why. Oh, that's why. Remember the previous title? Pennywise or 2.4 cent.
uh-huh.
Fool.
Yes, that's why, yes.
I understand.
Cents to make. I don't know if we have that somewhere. I know we did here. Somewhere.
I put 2.5 instead of 2.4.
Produce, I'll put produce here. Okay.
How can you have like half of a cent? You can't say that.
I don't, they're just, because you don't just produce 1 penny, so
Well,
they're looking at like
I guess
the
average.
ratio is basically what that
The
means.
average.
Yeah. This led many people to argue that the penny is inflating the economy and should be eliminated. However, what many people fail to also consider is that the nickel too costs more to produce than it's worth. In 2011, the cost for the US Mint to produce a nickel was over 11 cents.
That's crazy.
Even though production costs are slightly lower today, the penny still costs the US just over 1.8 cents to produce. The nickel cost is certainly currently 9.4 cents.
9 pennies to make a nickel?
That's weird, huh? The history of the American penny is a curious one. How long it will remain a part of our spending currency is yet to be determined.
Okay, so that one didn't really have like a specific opinion.
Yeah,
It shared arguments for both sides.
Both
so I'm gonna
sides.
say that was like an informative one.
and that was the last one, huh?
Yeah.
So let's go back to that first one because we still have some holes to fill in here. So that
Mine
first
was pretty
one.
much almost all before,
Okay, good.
What?
except for the middle.
I'm
one.
missing 2 sentences on my second paragraph
Space.
and 1 sentence on my third. And then
Take too much space. That mentions on that in that first article, it talks about how pennies take up too much space.
Actually, did I remember?
Okay. Take up space. Could be a con. Did people often throw them away in like water fountains to make a wish or something, you know?
I think that's a cool idea.
Yeah. Throw away.
It's like
Away. Fountains. I'm just giving you guys some ideas. You don't have to
because of
write this,
pennies,
but
people throw away fountains.
What?
oh, you know what I meant.
They added that too. Should have done in.
You can take them to the bank for melting
Well,
or donate
why
them
would
to
you do that?
charities.
You're like wasting money by.
They can count them for you.
So we gotta figure out where we're gonna put how they would round up.
I have like this huge piggy bank jar that I need to dump out in exchange for actual money. Like got a bunch of like random coins.
Cool money.
Well, I mean, it is
It's
money.
not
in-
It is money,
in
but it's
dollar
not like I can
bills.
take my gigantic piggy bank to the store and buy.
To the
something.
grocery store.
Like set it on the counter and
And be like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4.
This first article
be like-
talked about like what it's made out of, copper plated zinc. And how that's expensive, having it produced. So you can find a spot for that. So you get the idea, okay? Your introduction and your conclusion, we have. a little
Someone's calling
template
you,
here.
see,
14.
well, was.
Potential spam. I don't like it when it's like, if it's potential spam, don't
not
even
gonna do
ring.
that.
Just don't even ring. I mean, Apple should just make it like. Anyway,
Well, they don't
Well,
want to
they
change
have
too
to.
much between each phone. They still want you to buy phone after phone.
That's true.
this is just for you to kind of memorize before you sit down and take the test in case you get one of these argumentative
Oh, man.
styles. We're gonna look at the introduction first, but it says the introduction does not reveal the writer's position. Like I said earlier, the question posed in the introduction is answered in the conclusion. So you're gonna pose a question, form a clear question that hints at your position. The rest of the introduction is written about that question. And so you're going to start with your attention getter. You've got lots of quotes to choose from in the articles that you're reading. You could do a VSS. You could create a question. Well, actually, your question's going to go here. There's a spot for a question. So you don't want to use a question for an attention getter. I would use either a VSS or a quote. Penny for your thoughts. Something like that. And then remember, reference whoever said
Ooh,
that.
if I have this, I'm gonna title it.
Yeah, penny for your thoughts. And then the background, you're gonna make a general statement about the subject, then provide background information you think would be interesting or important. Something like, this debate has been going on for decades. Should we keep the penny? And you can either write down some thoughts here on your paper or just think about it. It's up to you. This is just a template for you to see the pattern of writing the introduction and the conclusion.
I'm taking notes on each one.
Yeah, okay, that's good. So background could be about how long the debate has been going on. And I think one of the articles even talked about that. Your question,
Oh.
should we keep the penny? Could be as simple as that, or you can make it a little more elaborate, like, should the United States of America keep the
1
original?
cent coin, you gotta
penny.
be longer. They have a word count, I think it's. Okay, 400.
Well, you want to call it penny because you're going to refer to the penny later in your paper. And then notice you have topic A, topic B, and topic C. So
You
you
have a
would,
word count on like how many words you use.
your topic A would be a con about keeping the penny. Too expensive to produce. Your topic B could be a pro or a con, like businesses rounding up or down the total. That could be a benefit. That could be a pro for the business, but a con for you, the consumer, because you're having to pay more. You okay back there?
Yeah, come on, fun.
Oh. And then your topic C is a pro for keeping the penny because it's historic, because you can give it to charity, people can collect pennies, you can it's got Abraham Lincoln on it. And it's also made out of copper, so it's actually valuable. The actual
Wait,
penny
is this the
itself.
penny the only currency with Abraham Lincoln on it?
No,
It has a bill.
is it the $5 bill
Oh,
I think it's.
or the $1 bill? Somebody just handed me money.
no,
Let me see.
$1 bill is George Washington.
The one is.
$1 George.
No, it's Abraham.
Oh, yes,
Yeah, I see
it's
it.
the 5.
Okay, never mind.
And you're right, the one is George.
And then.
And then the 100 is
$100
the Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah.
Just makes sense.
Which one has Alexander Hamilton?
20?
No, that's
Yeah.
20.
I got a
Oh my
$50.
God. Okay, did you guys fill out some notes for
$50 bill.
The introduction.
the introduction? Okay, let's look at the conclusion on the back. You're going to restate A, B, and C. So the conclusion reveals the writer's position. This is, like I said earlier, this is your punchline. This is where you're going to say what your stand is on it. I believe.
Wait, can you use I in it?
Yes, you can. The conclusion reveals a writer's position. It answers the question posed in the introduction. So echo the topics. You're going to restate those A, B, and C again in different words. And then a call to action. End with a statement of conclusion that states your final position.
I think we should actually get rid of the $100 bill and bring back the $1,000 bill.
Wouldn't that be cool?
There is an actual $1,000 bill.
That's just crazy.
It was
There's
used
$100
for,
bill.
because they were used for just moving money between banks instead of like actually using them in stores.
I think it'd be kind of dangerous though.
Yes, it would be
because, like,
very dangerous. I agree with that.
Like
you
bank
have
to
only
bank.
one bill, it's so easy to lose that.
I am going to read a sample paper just so you can get an idea of how this would come together. Let me find one really quick. Yeah.
William Taft.
Should the penny remain in circulation is their question. The penny stands as the unit of all coins, but some people believe that this particular coin is pointless. So that's their introduction. That's their attention getter. And this coin, which holds the value of only 1 cent, is it usable? Can you buy anything with 1 penny alone? That's a good question. And as a knowledgeable person, would you even desire to use it in a store?
Yeah.
When people go to a cashier and receive only a penny in change, they usually laugh and tell them to keep it. Because you know how sometimes stores have like a little bowl or something, you can just
Yeah,
drop it in there.
For people who can't round up their change, you could just,
You can use it, yeah,
Penny.
and that helps.
Penny.
Yeah,
well, that's a
Um,
pro for the penny. Because,
yeah.
like, if you get like 2 pennies back from a purchase, you can just drop them in a bowl. And then the next person maybe needs 2 pennies to round up what they need to buy.
Mm-hmm.
You can just take out of the bowl.
Yeah, that's true. That's pro for the penny. That's true. Keep it in circulation. Gradually, this coin may grow on an individual, so that's a pro. However, there are also issues with the penny, which could drive someone away from the idea to preserve it. It is fascinating to study. How should it be resolved? And that's one of the questions. How should it be resolved? And should we fight for it as a team with effort or eliminate it completely? So those are the questions this student posed in the beginning. And then the conclusion, I'll just read that so you know how they wrapped it up. This proves that pennies are not a valueless zinc coin, but pennies have other ways that you can use them. Most importantly, people enjoy keeping pennies in America, which is possible because they have childhood memories of collecting the coin. In some polls, it shows that 51% of Americans prefer preserving the penny. They favor that. There is another poll which shows that 63% support the penny. Either way, it is triumphant.
What is the penny?
The penny, keeping the penny. Supporting this coin, Americans can persuade others to keep the coin. And then obviously that's this person's point of view is keeping the penny. So you want to make sure in your conclusion you state that somehow, that whatever your opinion is, to get rid of it or keep it, either way. Are you packing up out there? Don't pack up yet. Did you guys fill out your conclusion side?
Yes.
Restating topic A, thank you. Topic
Oh.
B, topic C, and then your call to action. Let's work together to save the penny. Or let's work together to get rid of this penny. That's your call to action. And then once you get all of those figured out, each Roman numeral, then you're ready to write. So it's going to be, most of your time on this is going to be planning. And then once you get to the writing part, that's pretty easy to type it in. I do.
It's gonna take a lot of time.
It does. It takes like at least an hour or more, probably 2 hours.
So
Just
we're
for
gonna
the
have
writing
the time,
part.
right?
Yeah, it's not a timed,
Pixies.
it's not a timed test. So if you need more than the time you're allowed, you can have more time.
I think
So it's not, no pressure on that.
my written test only has a limit of like 400 words. Isn't really a lot.
A limit?
A limit, yeah.
You can't go past that?
You can't go past 3,000 characters or 400 words.
This is for your essay though, but you know how sometimes it has like short answer?
Yeah.
That
Mhm.
one's only gonna be like just a few sentences. So yeah, go off of how many characters it wants you to do. But even if it's a short answer, you can still use your Roman numeral 1, just use Roman numeral 1 and your keywords for that.
Maybe 2 would like have to.
Maybe 2, true. What else?
If you want 2 topics, you can do 2 Roman numerals. But if you
Yeah.
want just 1 topic, then
So like I said, you don't have to write this paper unless you want to, unless you're like bored and you're like, I really want to write this paper. I'm going to give you a different assignment for your homework this week to practice building your keyword outline and actually writing the paper. I'm not going to assign, well, I was going to say I wasn't going to assign all 5 paragraphs, but it's a lot. You know, you have to do that for the test anyway.
What would be
I'll
our,
decide.
what would we
3
write on?
paragraphs.
You would write on a different,
Topic?
just to practice a different topic.
Maybe like
So
4
I think I'm going to have you guys do, let's see, I'm going to practice. It's going to be memory training, explanatory performance tasks. Those are a little bit easier. So you would be, let me go down to the task so I can tell you what it is.
Is it telling you how you can memorize them?
In your school, the Science Club is encouraging students to provide articles for its new website. For your contribution to the website, you will write an explanatory article about improving memory.
Uh-oh.
Using
that's
more
what
than
I
one
did.
source, develop a thesis or controlling
What
idea.
is
A thesis is your statement, like something about improving memory is vital for everyone to be successful or for a person to be successful or something. It's a statement about improving your memory. That's what the thesis is. And then everything you write about that will support your thesis that improving memory is important.
I kind of don't like how they have to include all your classes, because then you're like, what?
What do you mean include all your classes?
Like for your science class or for your history class or like whatever.
Oh, in the
And then-
actual,
Feel.
yeah.
And then you're like, wait, oh, we actually did that.
I was also like, I'm like,
I know.
I don't have a history class or science.
I have both. I like my history.
Why-
Anyway, it's interesting. It's an interesting paper. But let me know because it is a long paper. It's just practice for you for your writing test. If your mom just wants you to practice building the outline and not writing it, that's okay with me too. I just don't want to overload you guys, okay? That's why we're not doing grammar or the binder at all this week. So it's just going to be practice for the test. And then next week, we'll get back on track. And I do want you to bring your laptops next week because we will go back into, you guys are writing about an occupation? Is that what you guys are writing next?
An occupation of choice.
Oh, I remember.
That
yeah,
gives me actually
your
more fun to
title
think,
is my
'cause I
book-
can
my
repeat.
book in green.
Hmm.
But I dropped it.
I had like 5 different occupations, so I can just pick one.
Oh,
So
that's what it was, huh?
Professional liar.
Occupation.
and-
I mean, lawyer.
That is
professional
not
lawyer.
an occupation.
Lawyer.
Okay.
Professional liar. I mean lawyer.
And
That
maybe,
should be-
maybe a politician.
Becoming a professional
Yeah.
lawyer. I mean lawyer. And it should be your title.
That could be, yeah, I like that
You
actually.
could be like, as a lawyer, you have the responsibility to lie if your client's lies.
All right, we're done. So everybody say bye to Victoria. Bye, Victoria. Hopefully you'll be here next week.
Yep.
Okay, bye.